This is the Alchemy Kitchen, and this is about 1 month's. This isn't even all of them. Most of them, though. 1 month supply of collecting and preserving mushrooms. The mushroom season this year was amazing. Started around mid-September. Now it's October 20th. The Steinpilz, the Boletus edulis, boletes, king boletes, whatever you want to call them. Those are starting to be less common now. I don't find so. Just old ones. New ones are popping up now. Season's changing. This year was great for the boletes. It was great for milk caps, which I still have a box I have to preserve here. And also great for Sarsaparilla crispus, I believe it's called, cauliflower mushroom, or we call it feta henna, or Krauseglucka. I have one here. It's a chunker. This one's a little bit more difficult to clean, but I'm going to clean that and dry it out, dehydrate it. And I'm putting up a video. I started to do it all in one, but it got kind of long, of picking some of them. In this video, I've done it in the past, separately on dehydrating in the oven and pickling them. So I'm going to kind of revisit that with this footage. And yeah, because I mean, this has been an excellent season. I've been doing this for probably 7-8 years now, and I've never seen a year this good for so many species, especially like the Reitzker, the milk caps, the Steinpilz, the boletes, king boletes, and that cauliflower mushroom. Those I find very rarely, normally, like maybe once every couple years or twice, not more than that, where this year I'm just finding so many, it's insane. Usually I find something new. Every year I learn a new species. I did come across a nice, it's a type of coral mushroom. I picked it and decided to throw it out, because even my friends that are more experienced with this will not mess with those coral mushrooms. Some are edible and some are toxic, and it's really hard to tell them apart. So not really easy to enjoy a meal when you're wondering if it's going to give you severe stomach problems or whatever. So yeah, I've got quite an assortment. These, actually, my girlfriend's parents were visiting. Her mom is like a pro at pickling things. She did these, they're pressure canned, so those are going to last a long time. I've got like 4 more jars in the fridge. I'll show you that method where they don't last as long, but they're made to keep in the fridge and eat within a couple weeks. I've got everything. I've got I can't remember. It's the Neo Boletus. Those are the ones that turn blue when you cut them. They look like, the taste is similar to boletes, but I think they're better. Tons of king boletes. That's the cauliflower. More king boletes. This is a mix. These are the blushers, the Perlpilz. I got really confident with these. I used to be kind of scared to pick those because they can be mixed up with Amanita pantherina, which are deadly. More of the Hexans. These are Reitzker. Looks like a mix, actually. Reitzker and I've got Maronin. I mean, everything that's good. These still need to be, I'm going to just dehydrate them. I've got enough pickled, and those are getting dehydrated. Even though I love them fresh, cut them in slices and cook it almost like a steak. They're really good. Or use them like noodles. But yeah, my girlfriend's starting to get mad at me every time I bring home mushrooms, but it's going to keep going. It rained a lot yesterday and it warmed up, so the forest is exploding with mushrooms right now. And yeah, I'm going to be nice and bunkered up in case we get a dry spell season. Those last me a while. And I gotta say, they're great fresh, but especially the king boletes, pretty much all of them. I mean, but really with the king boletes, I think the flavor comes out better when they're dehydrated. Dry them out, and I mean, the smell when you open the bag is just amazing. But soak them in hot water 20-30 minutes and just cook them after that. And that water, use it as a stock, whether you're making, I use it in mashed potatoes, in pasta, in rice, in soups. It comes out excellent. And Yeah, it's in a way they're better than fresh. It's weird. Just remember some species like these hexan rolling, which it's a neoboletus. I'll try to look up the name for it. Those you want to have cooked and cooked well. If you want to cook them at least 20 minutes. I've made the mistake where I undercooked them, and it gives you a stomach ache. It's not fun. But cook them well, they're delicious, and you'll be fine, unless you have an allergy to them. So yeah, I've yet to try the cauliflower mushroom dehydrated. I'm sure it's great. The Reitzkers come out great dehydrated, the milk caps. All of these do. Pearl pilts, the blushers. I think that's the first time I dehydrated those as well. Finding tons of those. I mean, there's so many, it's ridiculous. I'm getting nitpicky if it doesn't look like pristine, or sometimes I'm just like, my basket's full already. I don't even take them all. I found tons and tons of pearl pilts. And they're still growing. So we'll get on first to how to dehydrate and then on to how to pickle them. When you're getting a lot, it's stupid to waste them. And after the season's over and you want mushrooms, you'll always have them without having to buy the boring champignons from the store. Another fun fact I thought to add was I was at a supermarket last week and they had dehydrated forest mushrooms for sale. They had the edgeless Boletus edgeless, the Steinpilz, King Boletes, a little tiny bag. I think it was 20 grams for €4. This is roughly $4 right now. I saw them at Lidl too, which is cheaper than the other store I was at. And it was a little bit cheaper, but they show like the kilo price on their price tags. And those come out to €99 for 1 kilo. It's insane. Sure, I can understand if you don't know how to pick them or just dying to have them for a recipe, saying that, but yeah. Maybe I should start going into business. Alright, so first we're going to do some pickling. I don't do like the whole pressure canning thing because we eat them faster than they're going to go bad. So you can do that if you want to sterilize and pressure can. I'm not going to do it. First thing I want to do is get some water boiling, salt it, and I'm going to cut up the mushrooms I'm going to use. So I have a jar. I want to make enough to just fit in this jar. I'm going to use a mix. I'm going to use some of this cauliflower mushroom, some of the Reitzker, some of the select Steinpilz, the porcini that are in really good shape. And I want to cut it up in chunks and just put it in boiling water about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, so ready to throw these in. I love the way these milk caps look when you cut them up, almost like a carrot. Make sure you clean them off as good as you can before doing it. I mean, when you boil it, you're going to rinse or drain the water, but yeah. These cauliflower mushrooms can be a pain in the ass to clean. Sometimes you find a lot of bugs in them, but these all came out really easy to clean and perfect. Actually, a coworker was on his hunting revier. He just stopped me in the middle of class like, hey, man, I found some of these when I was out hunting, but I didn't know how to cook them, so I left them there. And basically, it's like any other mushroom. You would cook it the same way. Saute it in butter. That never fails. I pickle them. I put these in chicken soup. The texture's almost like noodles, so I've made like a kind of a noodle dish with it, with some gorgonzola and bacon bits. And you can cut it almost, they're like a steak. And I've never tried that yet, but you just kind of fry it like a steak. So I'm curious to see how well they pickle. I mean, in soups, they're awesome too. It's weird. It almost looks like tripe. It almost has the same texture too. If you like tripe soup, I love it. Anyways, these are going to boil for about 15-20 minutes, and then I'm going to kind of multitasking here. So I'm going to come back and just make the pickling solution, which is super, super simple. It's one way of about 20 that I do it, so it's kind of whatever I have on hand. Just give you some ideas of how to flavor it. Feel free to experiment with it. If you have any ideas or try it a certain way, let me know in the comments below. Okay, so the mushrooms have boiled 15, almost 20 minutes. Just tried one of the cauliflowers, only boiled like that. It's damn good. It's really like an al dente noodle. But I'm just trying, every time I do this, I change the recipe a little bit, experiment with it. So I've got Didn't have any dill. I used it all, but I already made some with dill. But I did take some dill seeds from my plants that went to flower, went to seed. Some cilantro, some chive, a few cloves of garlic, red onion chopped up. A couple of these are bowl chilies. Any kind of like spicy chili is good to put in it. A few juniper berries. Got some peppercorns and some green onion and some marjoram. And yeah, normally I put bay leaf in there, but since we moved, I cannot find where I put the bay leaf. I will put some celery seed as well, though, and a little bit of salt, of course. Now you can just put this. What I'm going to do is I'm using sugar as well, a few sugar cubes. I'm going to put that in some white vinegar. Experiment with the vinegar too. You can use red vinegar; it comes out good as well. It's just different. I'll do about a half-half ratio of vinegar and water. I'll add the sugar, but before I add all that in, I'm actually going to kind of put a little bit of oil in there. You can use olive oil. I'm actually going to use this wok oil that's infused with ginger and lemongrass. And I'm just going to saute the garlic and the onion and the herbs just to get the aromatics out. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in the vinegar and water. Another method is you leave the herbs to put in only in the jar with the vinegar solution. I'll probably do both. I'm going to cut this up and divide it in half. So I'm going to put the herbs, half of them in with the kind of flavor of the oil, and the other half straight into the jar with the mushrooms. So I'll get that starting to just get aromatic from the oil, heat it up, and kind of just brown the garlic a little bit, the onions a bit. And then all you really want to do is bring that to a boil for a few minutes and let it cool a bit, that you can comfortably pour it without burning the crap out of yourself. So I'll get that started and we'll come back in a few minutes. And like I said, there's, so many different things you could put in here, whether it's parsley or basil. You can really experiment with the herbs. I'm just kind of doing what we have growing and what I have on hand. And I like to change it up a bit because this is like the 4th jar, so it's nice to have a bit of variety. All right, got my mushrooms in a jar. Half of those herbs are in there. Sauteed everything in here, and now just added the vinegar and water. I actually did, just use this to measure it. 2 of these of vinegar and 1 of water. I like the stronger vinegar. While doing that, that was another thing I put in the last batch. I forgot to mention. I didn't do it this one. Was flowers from my zucchini and pumpkin plants. So yeah, just whatever you have really can add interesting flavor. I'm trying something new with this. I don't know if you can see it. It's dark out, but and the wind. It's totally foggy from. It's actually just really foggy to go out the front door and show you. There's this really big wall. It's probably like 1, 2, 3, at least like 3 or 4 stories tall. And up right here, that's a big walnut tree. So those walnuts are falling right there in the street in front of the house. And there's a lot of them. It's funny, when they land, it sounds like almost like a gunshot. It's really loud. I make sure not to park there. But so yeah, I'm finding all these walnuts on the street, have them getting run over. But I was grabbing some today. I hear a voice. It's this lady way at the top there saying, "Oh, we have plenty. Come and get some if you want. Come on out." But I already have enough. But I was like, what do I do with these? I eat them occasionally. I put them in like pasta and stuff. And I was like, I wonder if you could pickle them. And sure enough, that's a thing, pickling, but the green walnuts. These are already ripe. But I threw some in there when I was roasting everything, and we'll try it, If they don't taste good, you don't have to eat that part. So it's an experiment. I'd like to get some when they're green. Maybe they have some still green, I don't know, and give that a try. Apparently it's a thing in the UK. You can buy them like that. Pickled black olives, or walnuts. Looks very interesting. Definitely would like to try it. But we'll see how the ripe ones work. So this is coming to a boil. Just let it boil a few minutes. And turn it off, and then I'm just going to add it in there. And I don't know, I don't know what time it is, but I don't have to work tomorrow, but I do have to drive to the friggin' airport. I hate that. but in the afternoon. So I'm going to also get the dehydrating started. That's one thing nice if you're not going to be around, you don't want to leave the oven running, you can just turn off and continue it. I've seen people that just put them on like a clothes dryer or like a fly screen and put it in front of a fan or somewhere that gets some ventilation. That'll take longer. Oven works fine. I'll just show you a trick I've found if you don't have a lot of space with like some of these big bullets. One of them will take a whole rack in your oven after you cut it up. So I'm going to turn the heat off on this, let it cool down, and add it. What's also nice about this method, see, we're not pressure canning them, we're not trying to preserve them. They get stored in the fridge. We're in a very cool spot. It's cold now, so I can just put them in the cellar or outside. What's nice about this is you can open it without worrying about, okay, I got to eat them now, because they're going to get consumed quickly. So if there's something else you want to add, if like, hey, there's still room in here, I can throw some more mushrooms, boil them, and throw them in there. Or if I find the bay leaves, I can throw them in there. So it's one of those things. Or if I pick more mushrooms and there's room, okay, I'll put it right in there. So that's a convenient thing. I do the same thing with pickles and just do in the fridge. As long as they're not planning to be stored on a shelf for months and months, they'll be fine. All right, so those are done. 2-3 days in the fridge, and then they really get good. The fridge is packed. I'm going to put these outside because it's cold enough outside. Alright, so on to dehydrating. This works with pretty much any mushroom. I'm doing mostly the Boletus edulis. One that was even smaller than this will pretty much take up a whole tray. And we moved in here, this oven was here. It's only got one wire tray. So if you have just the shelf trays like this, you can still do it. What I recommend is put down some wax paper, some baking paper. Don't use foil. I've done that and it sticks and it's annoying. Wax paper, it releases no problem. It'll take a little bit longer, but what I'll usually do is after some hours, I'll go and flip them. The thinner you cut it, the faster it's going to work. You know, when you have so many, you're not going to sit there doing paper thin. You'll need so much space for it. I do about a 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch or so, you know, about like that is fine. That comes out fine. Just the main thing is that they're totally dry. There's no moisture in them. You want to be able to, like, when you bend it, it snaps. Then you know it's done. Because if it's moisture in it, and you, especially if you're doing big bags like this, and you get some in there that are not totally dry, they're going to ruin the whole batch. They're going to get moldy. If you can get some of those, like, what are those, silica packets to put in there, what I'll usually do is I'll wait till they're, really cool for a couple days. I won't seal the bag. I'll leave it open. You can put them in jars, whatever. Then after I'm sure they're totally dry, then I'll seal it. So, you know, most ovens are going to have 2, maybe 3 shelves you can fit in there like this, and so you can't do a whole lot. But what I found when we moved in here, there was a bunch of these trays. I guess they're for, like, cooling racks for, like, if you make a cake. Got quite a few, so I can just stack that right over here and make layers on all the shelves. I find, like, you know, you're going to turn the oven on to the lowest setting. I would go about 50 to 60 degrees and crack the door open. Put like a wooden spoon or something in there so the moisture escapes. And it's going to go for hours. You know, you're going to check it when it starts to get dry. You might have to move the shelves around a little bit, get good circulation. Then you're good. Like I said, there's like 1 or 2 of these. Like this one's borderline. It's still good. But when it gets a little darker than that, what I'll do, like I did with this, see, this has got, it still wouldn't be bad, but it's to that limit, just to be safe, where I just peeled that part out, and I'm just going to cut it up and put it on the rack. You know, it's like, these are safe edible mushrooms, but you can still get sick from eating mushrooms that have mold on them, or too old, basically. You know, most of these are going to be self-consumed, but I've had people ask for them quite a bit, so I try to, you know, keep them labeled. So you know, put the exact date of the month you dehydrated them and the species. Some people, they might have an allergy to a kind they never ate before, so you want to make sure you're not giving them something they don't know what it is, and they eat a bunch of it and get really sick. You know, normally if it's a new mushroom, a wild mushroom, should be cooked And you should try just a little bit to make sure you don't have an allergy. It does happen with wild mushrooms. Luckily, I've never had that problem. So yeah, I'm just going to slice these up and put them in the oven overnight and fit as many as I can. That's a lot to fit on. If I'm lucky, I'll probably get half of those on there. And these store good in the fridge for a couple days, so I'm just going to try to get these knocked out before I go back in a couple of days and probably end up collecting more. I keep coming home with them, even though I'm like, okay, it's enough. But, I mean, they shrink down a lot. I mean, this is probably, I don't know, a couple kilos in this basket, and I don't know how many it took to make a big bag of them like this dehydrated. It was a lot, but those will last me a long time. So yeah, it's really basic to dehydrate them, and that works with the bullets. It works with I've dehydrated the cauliflower mushrooms, the milk caps. All those come out really good dehydrated. And all you do is, and this is the first year I'm doing it with the Amanita rubenscens. So see how those turn out. Put them in hot water, 20, 30 minutes, and that rehydrates them, and then you just cook with them like normal. Don't throw that water out. That water is awesome. Use that for like a stock for cooking. Put it in your pasta or your rice or whatever, or soup, and it's really got a ton of flavor. In a way, I think when you dehydrate them, especially with the porcini, the bullets, the flavors intensify. So they're nice fresh, but I don't know. You can only eat so many. I'm surprised I haven't got sick of eating them so far. More intense flavor when they're dehydrated and rehydrated. So I have to do some cutting, stacking on trays, and get this going. It's already getting late here. It's a long day tomorrow.